I was afraid of the lighthouse long before I understood why. The first night, the wind didn't sound like wind. It sounded like screaming stretched thin across miles of black water. I remember standing at the narrow window, watching the beam cut through the dark and feeling something inside me recoil. The isolation wasn't peaceful, it was predatory. The sea felt too wide, the rocks below too sharp, the tower too tall. I told myself the fear was natural. Anyone alone out here would feel it. Anyone left with nothing but their own thoughts would eventually start hearing them speak back. That's why I came. That's what I believed. The lighthouse sits alone on a jagged spine of rock miles from shore. No nearby boats, no passing ships, just the endless churn of the ocean and the slow rotation of the light. Darkness, light, darkness, light. 12 seconds between each pulse. The first few nights, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of metal felt deliberate. Every groan of the tower sounded like something climbing it. And sometimes, I heard movement below. A dragging sound across the rocks. Slow, wet, unnatural. When I leaned over the railing to look, I could almost see something shifting in the surf. Something too large to be debris. Something too still to be alive. The next sweep of light would erase it, but the fear stayed. By the fourth day, I began hearing footsteps on the spiral stairs. Not echoes, not wind. Footsteps. Measured, heavy, ascending. The first time, I locked myself in the lantern room and gripped the flare gun until my hands shook. The steps stopped just outside the door. I could feel something standing there, listening, waiting. When I finally opened the door, there was nothing but the hollow throat of the staircase, descending into shadow. I laughed, too loudly. Alone laughter doesn't sound human. It sounds broken. I began keeping personal recordings, not the official weather logs, not generator reports, private ones, confessions almost, because something inside me was shifting. I would wake at the table with dried salt on my hands and not remember going outside. I would find scratches along the interior walls of the tower, deep, uneven, as if someone had dragged something sharp downward in slow, deliberate strokes. One morning, I discovered a stain near the base of the stairs. Dark, dried. I told myself it was rust. I scrubbed it until my fingers bled. The figure appeared on the seventh night, standing on the rocks below, perfectly still, not waving, not calling, just watching the tower. Each rotation of the beam revealed it again, closer, closer. By the 10th night, it stood at the base of the lighthouse door, and I knew something terrible. It wasn't trying to get in. It already belonged there. Isolation sharpens memory in strange ways. Not the good memories, the ones you bury, the ones that twitch in the dark. I began having flashes. A kitchen table, plates overturned, a chair lying on its side, a sound like something heavy striking tile. I would blink, and the image would vanish, replaced by the endless ocean. The voice started soon after, calm, measured. My voice. You didn't come here for silence. You came here because this is the only place your mind could put you. The horror grew more physical. At night, I would feel hands gripping my ankles as I slept, cold fingers tightening, pulling. When I jerked awake, there would be nothing there but the weight of the blankets. I heard breathing in the stairwell, not wind, breathing, thick, wet, ragged. Once I woke to the sound of something pounding against the lower door, over and over, a dull, sickening impact, as if someone was throwing their body against it, begging to be let in or let out. The lighthouse began to rot. At least, that's how it looked to me. The white walls stained darker each day. The air smelled metallic. When I washed my hands, the water sometimes ran pink for a second before clearing. I scrubbed harder. I couldn't get the smell out, no matter how much salt air blew through the windows, no matter how hard I tried to forget. The figure finally entered on the 21st night. I didn't see it climb. It was simply there, standing at the bottom of the staircase, looking up at me. It wasn't distorted. It wasn't monstrous. It was me, but steadier, calmer. Its clothes were different, dark, stained. There was something on its hands. It began to climb, slowly, deliberately. With every step, the flashes returned. A hallway, a scream cut short, something heavy in my grip, my own breath shaking the walls. I backed into the lantern room. The beam rotated. Darkness, light, and in that light, I saw it clearly. Not sea spray on the rocks, not rust on the walls, not shadows on the floor. Blood, memory bleeding through the cracks of a world I built to contain it. The voice spoke one final time. You didn't volunteer. You were confined. The lighthouse is not real. It's what you built to survive what you did. The ocean isn't water. It's the noise inside your head. The footsteps aren't ghosts. They're orderlies checking your restraints. The supply boat never comes because no one is coming to relieve you. You're not stationed here. You're contained. The beam rotating every 12 seconds. That's the security light outside your observation window. Darkness, light, darkness, light. The memories broke through all at once. The kitchen, the argument, the look in her eyes when she realized I wasn't listening anymore. Not really listening. The children in the hallway, the sound of something falling, the stillness after, the unbearable silence after. I remember the bridge, the railing under my hands, the black water below. I thought the ocean would erase it, erase me. They found me before I could jump, pulled me back, not to freedom, to consequence. The lighthouse dissolved, the sea drained away, the rocks crumbled, and I woke in a narrow bed, bolted to the floor. White walls, no windows, a door with reinforced glass, my hands trembling not from cold salt air, but from memory. They told me where I was, a criminal psychiatric facility. They told me what I had done, as if I didn't already know, as if my mind hadn't spent weeks building a tower tall enough to bury it. The horror was never the footsteps, never the figure, never the blood I kept trying to scrub away. The horror was this, that I was capable of it, that the monster climbing the stairs was not something coming for me. It was something I had already been. The light still rotates outside my room. I can see it through the narrow strip of reinforced glass. Darkness, light, darkness, light. 12 seconds between each pulse. Not to guide ships, not to warn the lost, but to remind me. There is no ocean. There's no isolation. There's only what I did, and the tower my mind built, so I wouldn't have to stand in the ruins of my own home. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear the waves, but now I understand. They're not calling me. They're replaying over and over, and this time, there is no lighthouse tall enough to hide inside.